Hey, here we are. Keto Chat Live with Carol and Kendall.
How's it going? Sorry, I was a little busy, doing the big deal and whatnot.
And
I'm still here, though.
And Blue is coming to see us as well. Let me
Blue's
make sure
here, too?
that I didn't put it on, okay, it's okay.
Hmm?
I didn't put it on, like, airplane mode.
I'm
Or
put it on silent.
Should I put it on silent?
Yeah, because it can pick that up.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll get the tech.
We're still ironing out all the kinks, but,
I don't know if I can access that from... Oh, here we go. All right. All right. You're live and you're invited. Here we are. Keto Chat Live. Here we are Thursdays, 5 p.m. Pacific. We're trying to make this a regular thing. So
I know we're a little late, but that's not a big deal. I promise. We'll go over by a minute to compensate. We'll make up for it. I promise.
So how's keto treating you lately? What's up with you?
How's keto treating me? Keto's treating me well. Right now I have a little bit of a headache, but that's not, I don't think that's keto's fault. I think it's because I hide indoors all day, but...
And now it's bright and light.
Now it's really bright in here,
studio.
so now my head hurts. But it's getting better.
Yeah? Getting enough sleep?
Getting great amount of sleep. Actually, I went to sleep probably around 11 last night, which is a lot earlier than usual for me. Usually go to sleep like 1 a.m., but
Yeah.
you know.
How's stress though? You got some stress right now, don't you?
Stress. School is always difficult, but my stress is manageable. Manageable levels of stress.
Cool.
But,
Yeah, I've been feeling stressed lately too. Just
stressful.
Business stuff. Working on growing and maintaining and figuring it all out.
Working on you guys.
Yeah, helping support everybody.
You people.
My program. So we got some questions people wrote in. And so what's the first one?
One from Murray?
Yeah. What's Murray say?
So, let me see here. She's been trying to do keto for about a month. She's keeping track of her fat, protein, and she just found out this morning she's only lost an ounce of weight. She's discouraged, and she's eating low-carb keto for a while, and she doesn't think she's cheating, but it's not working. She wants to know what's going on.
All right.
She's tracking everything.
She's been doing it for a month. Is that what it says?
She says a month. Yeah.
Yeah, doing it for a month and hasn't even lost an ounce.
It's crazy.
Awesome question, Mari. Awesome question. Right. So I get
like
this.
That's the most common. Like, literally the most common question. And
right?
It's the most important question, too, I think, for people that are trying to motivate themselves.
Yeah, okay, so, oh my gosh, there's so much of this, and I could talk for probably 3 hours on this whole topic.
I'll keep her tame, though. I'll keep her relaxed.
Yeah, there's at least a couple other questions that people want answered, so we'll make sure that we get to those, too. So, okay, so, first of all, most people, they fixate on what the scale tells them when they go on a diet, right? So, I need to lose weight. I'm really unhealthy, so therefore I'm not successful if the scale is not going down. And okay, so there's so much here. So one of the things could be that you're losing fat and the scale is not showing that. It could be that your approach to what you're doing isn't right. I see that a lot when I work with people. There's so much conflicting info out there about which is the right way to do keto, and people take a guess or stab in the dark, and it ends up being like not the right approach for them. That's one of the reasons I see people not lose weight. Another one is there are actually a lot of different factors that go into why women specifically can't lose weight. So just, some of those things are that the more diets that somebody has done in their past, so the more diets they've done where they've lost weight and then gained it back, every one of those slows it down the next time. So every time you try to lose weight again, it's even harder than the last time. So a lot of times people have the fantasy that last time I went on XYZ diet or I did low carb, I lost weight so easy. So why is it not working this time? Well, guess what? If you do it over and over and over again, it's harder every single time. So
the body doesn't want to lose that weight. It's kind of holding on to it, just making sure. Because if you're doing a lot of those low calorie diets, right? Your body doesn't want to lose weight. It kind of wants to keep it in because it doesn't know if you're going to be doing that low calorie again. Yeah,
two things. The one thing you're saying is that every time you go on a low calorie diet, if you're trying to restrict calories, you're slowing your metabolism down. So that's strike one you've got against you. Strike two is that typically you go off of that diet, meaning you binge on carbs or you eat too much, you relapse, whatever. That damages your metabolism again. You're basically causing more insulin resistant than you had in the first place. So two things are wrong with each diet. So that adds on to that. Also, the older we are, especially as women, the harder it is to lose weight. So you're older than the last time you tried. and oh gosh, stress, not enough sleep, again, the wrong approach, not addressing the psychological side of things, right? So we're led to believe with keto, the only thing you have to worry about is finding the perfect macros, and then it should work 100%. But I keep getting cat hairs on me. That, the truth is there's a lot of things that stimulate insulin release. So ketogenic diet is actually about insulin. It's not necessarily about the carbs and protein, although that causes insulin release. So there's other things that cause an insulin release, okay? So if you just look at food, if you think about food, if you're watching cooking shows on TV, if you're going to blogs, if you're going to Facebook groups that are all about food and recipes, you're actually stimulating your brain in such a way that it's releasing insulin and suppressing ketosis.
You're telling me that when I look at food, not only does my mouth salivate,
Yeah.
my blood salivate. My stomach is getting ready for this.
That is so true. I've never heard it said that way, but I've never heard it said better, because your blood's salivating.
Blood salivating. It's getting ready. It's
Your pancreas is salivating into your blood, which makes you stop losing weight. So,
Sure.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different things. I mean, these are all the things that I like. Why my program has so many different components, and all the teaching parts of it is because it's so much more than like figuring out your perfect macros. You've got to have all that extra stuff. So, so Mari, I don't know exactly why you're not, but I have a lot of different guesses, and it would take a lot more investigation to figure it out. So.
There's so many possibilities. It's likely that it's just one of them, but it could be all of them.
Right.
You have to find out. There's so many things you have to do I wouldn't say so many. There's just a couple of steps you have to take to pinpoint which one really is going to be the one that'll fix it for you.
Yeah. The other thing to keep in mind is that you could be doing everything perfect, but perhaps you're so insulin resistant that your metabolism is so damaged that you're going to need a lot of patience, that this is just going to be a long-term thing for you. So I've worked with several ladies, many ladies, maybe 20 to 30% of the ladies that I work with, they don't see fast weight loss. And maybe even for the first couple of months or even longer, they're not seeing any change on the scale, and that's because there's a lot of healing that has to go on behind the scenes, your metabolism, your ability to burn fat, your pancreas, the amount of insulin that your pancreas is used to releasing for everything. That takes time and persistence. And so, one of the things they say over and over again is that the only diet that works is the one that you can stick with for the rest of your life. And some of us need a lot more time to heal that before we start to see the change on the scale. Other thing that I mentioned in the beginning about the scale is that you can be losing fat, you can be gaining bone density and muscle at the same time, and the scale may not change at all.
Yeah, if you've been eating a really restrictive diet, I can imagine your bone marrow becoming pretty thin, not a lot of weight in there. It's pretty lightweight, pretty fragile bones.
You got some light bones there. So yeah, and actually we've got a keto chat coming out with Megan that should be out any day now. I interviewed her. She was somebody that came into my program a year ago, and she was one of those ladies. She's pretty young, but she had a lot of insulin resistance, and for the first 3 or 4 months, she really didn't see any change on the scale. But more recently, she works out this gym that has a full body assessment, so she can check her bone mass, her muscle density, her fat mass, and she's been able to see that there was a period of time, and in the video you'll be able to see it. So there was a period of time where the scale only changed like 5 pounds over I don't remember now, like a 4 or 6 month period. But she actually looked and she could see their bones were getting denser. She lost about, I'm making up these numbers now because I can't remember, but it was like 10 or 12 pounds of fat during that time, even though the scale didn't change much. So the scale is not a good indicator of what's going on. Maybe you need more patience to heal what's going on. And what was the other one? Probably your approach isn't right as well. And it probably is all of those together. So
all of them at once, it's going to make a pretty bad time. But I think the most important thing right now is to stay persistent. It sounds like you have pretty good motivation if you're a month into it and you haven't lost any weight and you're still doing it. That's really impressive.
Right.
Most people have given up by now. So that's already commend you for that. But I think try to focus on the positive aspects so far. Think about your mood level, if your anxiety is being reduced, your stress. I know it's a difficult thing, kind of changing your entire lifestyle with this diet, but think about the positive things. Always try to have the good outlook, right? You've lost an ounce. That's not a lot, but
I think she said she didn't even lose
lose an ounce.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know what scale measures an ounce, but yeah.
She could be European.
Yeah. Okay.
Grams.
Wait, Europeans don't measure ounces. She lost 3 grams. No.
3 grams. Yeah.
No, I think that's awesome tip. That just focus on all the other things that are getting better, and you gotta be sticking with this for the long haul, and maybe reach out and get some expert help if it's your approach maybe.
An expert opinion will definitely be just the best way to get through it.
Yeah.
I mean, because then you'll know for sure what's the problem, for sure what you're doing right, for sure what's going wrong, and what's how you can fix all these things. It'll just be probably the best way.
Yeah. All right. What's
See if we have any
our next question?
Some other questions in here from the
Are we getting any live
post
questions
earlier. I'll double check the earlier posts first, and then we'll see. Let me see.
Maybe the Maggie one.
Yeah. So not diabetic. However, eating by monitoring with blood sugar is sometimes elevated between meals, and then I eat in their normal range again. So random blood sugar spikes. What's going on between meals?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to know, she doesn't give us any numbers or anything like that, so I don't know how much of a change or spike we're talking about or anything like that. So to really know what really is going on, I need to, way more information there. But, one of my favorite sources for information is Jimmy Moore's podcast. So he was actually talking about one of his fasting podcasts, talking with Dr. Jason Fung, how as people are losing weight, especially people that have diabetes or that have a history of insulin resistance, is that he says that they're storing pockets of sugar in their fat. So as they're accessing their fat stores, they're seeing random spikes of blood glucose.
Your body's like hoarding insulin inside its body, just trying to...
Or glucose in the fat cells.
Yeah,
I never learned that in school, so I don't know how that works, but Dr. Fung has seen thousands of patients, and so I trust his clinical assessment and judgment. So, so checking blood glucose. So typically what you want to see is that checking blood glucose before you eat. If you eat a meal that's perfectly ketogenic for you, you really shouldn't see an increase on your blood glucose an hour after you're done eating. Ideally, it should be pretty similar, within 5 points. If you're seeing a 10-point jump, that's okay, but it's not going to be ideal. Probably means you had too many carbs at that meal for your body's tolerance, and or too many grams of protein. So,
would you say that maybe like personal metabolism or digestion might have an effect with a delayed response for an insulin spike? Is that?
Yeah. Well, so that Maggie? Maggie was talking about a spike in blood glucose. So typically that means that you've had too many carbs or too much protein or both at that meal for your body. So I've seen people that can tolerate 40 or 50 grams of protein at a meal, no problem. But other people that are very insulin resistant, maybe pre-diabetes, and especially if they're diabetes, having more than 30 grams of protein at any one meal will cause a blood glucose spike for them. So it's just an individual thing.
Personally tailored how many carbs and protein
really
could be allotted per meal is what it sounds like. If maybe you're allowed 60 carbs or 60 grams of protein a day. If you do that all in one meal, that'll cause a spike, right? So it's
for some people.
For some people. Yeah. So just even if you're allowed that much.
For you're fine. You work out, you exercise a lot.
I'm a carnivore. I eat a lot of meat.
You're only 21, so you don't have 40 years of insulin resistance under your belt.
Luckily, she caught me early and was able to put me on this correct lifestyle, getting away from that McDonald's and the taco time. And I'm a young kid, so it's hard to convince me otherwise. But when she mentioned the mayonnaise, that just did it for me.
All right, Mr. Keto Pudding here.
Keto pudding mayonnaise. That's what it is. The mayonnaise pudding. Let's see here.
All right. So what was the other? There was one more question on that.
One more question
right?
on this one.
Is there one below that? No.
I'm not seeing any other ones on here.
Okay.
Let's see if we have any. Are there any live questions? I don't see any live questions yet.
I thought there was one. So look in my notifications because I think I thought there was one that came in. I've got one other place for you to look as well. So
sure. Yeah. Like I just said though, put some live questions in. We're gonna try to find some questions we had beforehand, but give us some questions now, and we'll answer those as well.
I've got my tech support guy here with me to
I'm trying
to pull up questions as you type them in. So
I'm trying here. So who'd you say here was?
So the place I want you to go is to my inbox on my business page. So
sure.
Do you know how to get there? You're already okay. Yeah. So
one?
actually, messages up there. Yes.
Messages. Yeah. See, I don't use Facebook a lot. I'm more of I don't know. I don't really use a lot of social media, so
Younger
this is the only
generation,
thing I'm new at. Yeah.
So don't read the person's name. That one.
This one?
Yeah, don't read their name. She wanted to remain anonymous. So actually, I remember, I think, most of her questions, but maybe if you follow along, you can make sure I'm not missing something. So I had somebody, so I posted today that we're going to go live at 5, and I had somebody, private message me saying, I don't really feel comfortable sharing this public on your or on your page, but, would you mind answering this? And so she's asking about, what about keto for weight loss surgery patients? Okay, she's asking if I had any experience with that. And yes, I have worked with several people that have had gastric bypass of one form or another, what I see, they're going into the surgery being told that this is like the fix for their obesity. And you definitely see, for most people, they lose
you're gonna lose some weight.
Yeah,
right?
they lose a lot of weight
for sure.
very rapidly. But the sad part that they don't tell you is that at the 2-year mark after surgery, most people have gained most of the weight back, and it's a really drastic thing to undergo and very, very expensive. And
so just talking about lipo, or is this a bypass?
Yeah, like a gastric bypass. They're doing other things these days as well, putting some kind of a sleeve on there that can tighten off the stomach without actually cutting part of it out. Really invasive surgery, and they're really most of them are permanent results. And there's a lot of side effects that happen as well when you bypass part of your digestive system. Like, the whole role of your digestive system is to break down foods to get the nutrients out of it, and so you can't access those nutrients. So you're really high risk of long-term nutrient deficiencies. But the other really important part that surgery doesn't address is the psychological aspect of eating. Like, if you got to the point where you're using food for comfort, emotions, and stress, because typically people that get to the point where they're and I don't know anybody particular, right? So I'm just generalizing here, but the people that I've worked with that have got to the point where they needed gastric bypass surgery, they've got a lot of psychological reasons that they're eating. So they're using food for a lot of other reasons besides just nourishment and because they're hungry. And if you would just restrict your stomach, it doesn't do anything for the reasons you were overeating in the first place. So I always use the analogy of like, if somebody's an alcoholic and your solution, the way that you treat their alcoholism is you cut their hands off so they can't drink anymore.
You're going to figure out a way to drink still. You're going to put a straw in there. You're going to do Edward 40 hands.
Yeah,
you'll
exactly.
Figure out a way.
You haven't supported the whole reason why they were drinking in the first place. And so the same thing with gastric bypass. So I just think it's a really big pitfall. And so the people that I've worked with personally that have had gastric bypass are ones that they lost a lot of weight and they're gaining a lot of it back, and they're really afraid of going back to that place they were. But they come to me and they've never had the support that they really needed to be able to address the psychological piece of that. So that's one big piece of that. The other thing is that keto is just fine for people that have had gastric bypass. Maybe there's some modifications that probably need to be done like right after surgery. But definitely for people that have had it, a few years back, it's definitely safe. I don't know. I can't specifically speak to your specific situation because I don't know you, but just in general, there's nothing about it that would be harmful to a person who's had some kind of a gastric bypass surgery, especially if it's several years back. And as far as a really good long-term solution, it really is. And the other piece of it, I was just really encourage people is that if you're kind of, and I think this person that wrote to me, I finally figured out that they hadn't actually had the surgery, but they were on that path, and that the way their insurance would actually pay for it is they had to go through this 6-month supervised weight loss program to even get to the surgery. So you have to prove you can lose weight first before you can get to the surgery, which seems kind of silly to me. But so I really encourage people to explore a ketogenic diet as an alternative to the surgery, because
it's probably a little bit cheaper. That's, I think, one reason, but
way cheaper. I mean, I know a lot of times insurance will pay for it, so then it seems like, well, it doesn't cost me anything, but
it's not just cheaper wallet wise. It's cheaper on your body. It's a lot healthier. Yeah. Just you're gonna feel a lot better going for this. I mean, going in the keto lifestyle instead of having a surgery, but so it's not damaging your body. It's actually a sustainable way of eating, because when you get into ketosis, you're going to have a really low appetite. Your cravings are going to be really low, and it makes it much easier then to stay on
on plan long term.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the thing they don't talk about after the surgery is that your stomach will begin to regrow and expand. And so at the beginning, when your stomach is, what do they say, like the size of a thumb or something.
That is incredible. That is way too tiny.
Yeah, it stretches out and grows. Our body is so amazing that whatever we cut off or damage in it, it tries to regrow it. And so,
except for your hands. The hands will. Those aren't growing back.
There's a certain degree, right? I don't, there's some place.
I think it's less than an inch. I don't think that more of that will grow back. Your body's not that amazing.
Hands, no. But your internal organs, a lot of them, depending on what you cut off, if you leave enough of it there, they tend to regrow. Same thing happens with a gallbladder. Take the gallbladder out and your body will, your liver, the ducts there will start to make a new pouch and you kind of regrow a simulated new gallbladder. So
your body wants to be, wants to have a full-size stomach. It wants to be whole. It doesn't want to have, the surgery happen. But it's, I don't know what I was going to say after that. I think it's largely the most important thing is the psychological aspect, though, is really kind of getting into the mindset and the habits and what's going on with the actual problems instead of...
Yeah. The psychological piece is really big, and then eating in a way that actually keeps your appetite low and lets your body access its fat so it's got energy.
This person was mentioning that the people that are doing the supervised portion of the program were pushing on the grains. They're pushing the non-keto foods.
Yeah, so this was, something that she was struggling with is like, I've got to go through the supervised weight loss program, and they're telling me that a healthy diet to lose weight is whole grains and beans and what else was there? Like basically pasta too. Really high carb foods.
I could see where someone could argue, grains and beans maybe, but pasta, that's just nothing. Like it's just
maybe whole wheat pasta.
Whole wheat pasta, get your fiber, right?
Yeah. So, unfortunately, most healthcare providers out there still are teaching what we've been told for the last 40 or 50 years. And so it takes a long time, for people to let go of their past beliefs. Right? If you believe something to be true for 30 years, it takes a lot of evidence.
Someone just finds out like that they're wrong. They're not going to be convinced.
It's really rare. And even if you give somebody mountains of evidence, they're still going to be like, I don't know. I'm still really skeptical. It's just a part of our psyche that's the way that our brain works. So it takes a lot to switch. And so, yes, we're still at a time when most of the healthcare providers out there, whether it's nutritionists or nurse practitioners or medical doctors, they're still, recommending what they've been trained as a healthy diet. And so, they prescribe that, healthy whole grains, lots of fruits and vegetables, lean meats, plenty of vegetable oils, stay away from saturated fat. All of that's really the opposite of what's going to help you actually lose weight. Oh, and then portion control, eat less and exercise more. Like all of that is backwards. And if it worked, every one of us would be thin and there wouldn't be any obesity epidemic. But it turns out that all of that really is the opposite. So I feel for you. My heart goes out to you that, you're in this program. I know that that's really common, and that's why, and it's really hard to get people to change.
I think it's really frustrating, too, is the big thing, because this person was saying that they've been, trying keto for a while, and these people are kind of trying to force these grains and these carbs and these things down.
If you truly believe that you need whole grains to be healthy, you need whole wheat pasta, and that fat's bad for you, and that saturated fat's bad for you, and cheese is bad for you, and red meat's bad for you.
My blood's getting all salivating again.
The doctor's trying to do what they think is best, right? They're trying to keep you from dying because they think all those foods will kill you immediately. So, I would just encourage you. I mean, I'm not recommending you go against doctor's advice or do anything like that, but just explore things for yourself. Do some reading yourself. Of course, I always invite you to come and see if you want to get some support from me. But if you're not in that place that's where you want to go, do some education yourself. Look at some of the research. Look at some of the leading YouTubers that are doing lectures on it. Listen to some of the podcasts. I recommend Keto Talk, Keto Chat,
Keto Carol, Keto Kendall.
A couple of good books out there. Keto Clarity, The Art and Science of Low Carb Living. Both of those are excellent resources as well. Perhaps giving those things to your doctor, but again, it's probably going to be really hard battle to convince your doctor to change his mind.
Well, it sounds like this person's on the right track, right? They've done some research. Yeah. They're kind of leaning towards that keto direction, but then to get this weight loss, for the program, they've kind of gone the opposite direction. I mean, with this other program that has a different approach, and it's just kind of the more stereotypical approach, I guess, right? And it's kind of, I think maybe the best idea would be kind of go towards someone that's maybe in your line of your direction that you're going for, like look to go on that path, like you, I think you were saying that you feel like this is right. You're getting problems with the carbs and the grains, and it just sounds like you should kind of be staying on that keto path for you. It sounds like it's working.
Yeah. So I feel for you. We're still in a time when, it's
radical. We're in a radical world here, aren't we?
Yeah. I mean, we're in a time where if you have anything wrong with your health, you go to the doctor, they're immediately gonna blame your high-fat ketogenic diet. Don't do that. You gotta eat low-fat. Eat more meals a day.
Less carbs.
Eat more pasta.
More carbs. Less calories.
Yeah. So, gosh, advocate for yourself. Do your own research. Get some support. Reach out. Find other doctors and healthcare providers because it is growing and the word is getting out a little bit more.
And definitely, doctors are very busy people, right? They see tons of patients a week, just so many people all the time. It's kind of hard for them to have that personalized, tailored healthcare plan, right? You're bringing up these concerns and these problems that you're having, and it's kind of like, well, no, you just got to stick to the plan. You just got to stick to whatever my doctor plan is.
Well, they don't have time to keep researching the latest stuff. Like, they learned what they learned, and they just keep presenting that to people, so they don't have the time.
But everyone's different. Just because what you've learned is usually right doesn't mean it's always right. There's always fringe cases. There's always... People are different. People are very unique animals. We're amazing. I'm not seeing any questions here on the comments. I'm looking for some questions from you guys. I really want to be able to answer some specific questions.
Yeah. I thought we had some more, but maybe they came in on one of my other... I wonder...
Sure. I'll take a look.
Because I posted this on... not that one, yeah. I posted this on my personal page. Also posted it in a couple of groups as well. So maybe I might have got some questions in different places. So...
They're not readily available for me to find. Well, what should we talk about then? We can talk about keto for hours, I know.
Yeah.
But we're trying to be specific, right?
I know last time you told me I went too long. So
it's 5:30.
Okay.
We went pretty long last time, but that's because we just had so much things. You guys were asking us so many questions to talk about. We wanted to tell you all the information that we could to explain why the ketogenic diet is so fantastic.
Yeah. Well, I can share some... some success has been going on with my program members recently. So it seems like as we're going through this and various people coming in and out of the program all the time, we have waves of themes of things that people are working on, and so
problems or kind of goals or
all of those. So one of the challenges in the last couple of weeks is we seem to have several ladies that were struggling with, they've been doing keto on their own, and they either lost some weight initially. But then they hit a stall or plateau, and for like a month, and they didn't know what to do.
I was going to mention that when you were talking about the lady having problems losing weight. It's just maybe plateauing, right?
Right.
Because I remember you told me a lot about this. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, and so, and then other ones are people that came in and they're like, well, I did keto on my own, or I did some other keto diet, and I could never get to ketosis. So I'm just pretty sure my body can't get into ketosis, and I'm really confident. I know I can help you. I can support that, and so. So I came up. I don't know if you're going to be able to pull it up for me or not.
I can take a look.
There's an infograph that I created for my group members, and I also posted it. Actually, if you look at the pictures on my business page.
This one up here?
Here,
I'll just go over here.
Yeah, the pictures on. No, yeah, go page.
Yeah. I'm figuring
it
out. I'm learning.
I created this infograph because there's actually 4 different areas of things to look at when things aren't working, and so it's that one. So, your overall goal is you need to lower insulin. So if something isn't working, your body won't go into ketosis, you've stalled with your weight for more than 3 weeks, then you've got to look at the various ways of reducing insulin. And there's a lot of different things that cause an insulin release. So most people just look at their carbs and protein. Carbs number 1, I'm staying at 20 grams or less. Why am I not losing weight? Okay, so then let's look at your protein range. So some of the things that I had these ladies doing was starting to gather a lot of data because we need to figure out what needs to change. And so I had them keeping spreadsheets of so many things. No wonder it's so hard for people to figure this out, right? So I had them tracking their total protein every day, their total carbs, the timing of their meals, so when they were eating their meals each day, and then how many grams of protein and carbs they were having at their last meal of the day, how many hours of sleep they were having, any other extra activity that they were doing, as well as then their ketone reading the next morning. And you start to see some patterns. And for people when they're gathering all this, they're like, I don't know how to make sense of this, but I've done this enough that I can really see these
It's hard
patterns.
to tell. Just looking at the numbers, if you're not trained, you probably don't know what's going on. You kind of need someone to be able to kind of give you an expert opinion and kind of explain the numbers. Because, 20 grams of carbs or less and, 60 grams of protein or whatever, like, you can hit that. But like I was saying earlier, everyone's so unique that it's just...
Yeah, so, one of the things that I see commonly is that, having too much protein at dinner, especially if you have a late dinner at night, that can make it so that their ketones drop way down to 0.3 or 0.5 the next day. So that's one area, not getting enough sleep. The other thing that we then can add in is to, fasting of various degrees. So the first step then is, intermittent fasting. So where do you, are you eating 3 meals a day? Are you eating snacks still? The longer you can go between meals, the longer you can go before you eat the first time in the day, the lower the insulin's going to be. So that's one of the first places we start then as well is okay, so how long can you wait for your first meal?
And that's not starving yourself. It's not calorie restricting. It's just kind of taking a longer time between meals, kind of maybe condensing all things towards the later time of the day or earlier in the day, depending on the person.
Yeah, and that's one approach is to wait for your first meal. The other way is like have breakfast and have lunch and then don't eat later than that. So, it ends up being customization for your schedule, your own psychology, your likes.
Work schedule is a big one, right? If you can't eat all day at work, then that's kind of cool. Then you have that time where you can just kind of fast all day. But you have to train your body to be able to know how to get into it. You can't just I'm gonna not eat today, right? Like that's not gonna work out.
And for most people, I have them gradually work into it, right? So, maybe just pushing back the first meal as their first step. Maybe working up towards a 24-hour fast is the next step. Then maybe after that, go for a 3-day fast. And then after that, work towards a 5 or a 7-day fast. So I typically have people build up towards it, mainly because their psychology is the part that gets in the way. Because once you get into ketosis, you're really into ketosis, you're not hungry. You're not actually hungry. It's more the psychological part, and for good reason. Okay, so most of us out there have dieted in the past where we do a low-calorie diet, a low-fat, where you're just starving all the time, and to go without food meant you felt miserable, you were irritable, hungry, and tired, plus you were usually doing it to punish yourself. So I'm fat and gross, I need to stop eating so I can lose weight. So
I'm going to stop having all that stuff that I enjoy eating all the time, right? That makes my mouth feel so good. I'm going to punish myself. And go on a diet.
Yeah, so people, associate I'm a bad person with not eating. And so we've got to uncouple that for people. So that's why I have people work their way into it is you've got to retrain your brain to realize that you're not going to feel miserable when you're fasting. It's more just uncoupling that feeling of like being punished or deprived from it. And so gradually working up to that and people get to have my support, and then Jade, our mindset coach as well, gets to really help people work through that. So they get to uncouple that. We do it as a gradual progression. And inevitably people start out and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't do it. I'm going to feel too hungry. I'm going to feel deprived. It's like, okay, let's just uncouple this and let's go slow. There's no failing, right? So you can always eat. If it's too unbearable or uncomfortable, you can always eat. So you don't have to, and because you've got the foundation of a ketogenic diet, there's no failing, right? So if you can't go till noon with your first meal, have breakfast. Have a ketogenic breakfast. You haven't failed at all.
Right, you're already on that good level of keto. You're just kind of taking it to that next level, like the one extra step, the extra steps. But there's always, if the worst you do is just eat keto, then I think you're doing fine. Like,
Exactly. So this is the long term. You're in this for the long haul. There's no hurry. You've got the baseline of a ketogenic diet that's working already, and so each thing you do from there, you try and you fine tune, and it's a long-term approach, and so there's no failing, and you're building on the skills that you've already got. So
I think what you're talking about, the whole mindset aspect of it, the punishing yourself when you need to starve yourself, you need to punish yourself because you're a bad person, right? I think sometimes it takes a while to realize that you're not going on keto to punish yourself to
Yeah.
lose weight. You're actually rewarding your body by
Yeah.
going on keto. You're eating these delicious foods, this fatty deliciousness, and your body's just going to feel so much better. You're rewarding yourself. You're not punishing yourself anymore. So
Yeah, and that's a lot of the work that I get to support the people in my program with, is unraveling all that past diet mentality. I've got a big long blog post planned about that, actually. So the whole diet mentality, there's so much there that we have to unravel. The past learning, the past associations, the past terrible feelings we had about ourselves, and
well, yeah,
all
just
those
for me,
things.
it's
So,
like I'm 21 now. I started keto a couple of years ago. It's like 18 years of my life of concrete, like pounded in bad information, right? The wrong stuff, and I'm a bad person for eating sweets and donuts, and it's like you gotta change all the mindset. It takes a while. It's a lot of stuff to go through.
yeah, and I work with ladies that have been, they're in their 40s and 50s, and they've been dieting since they were like 11 or 13 years old.
Wow, that's a little too early,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
maybe that's a society aspect.
Yeah.
And maybe it's
Yeah.
another topic completely, but.
Yeah, but that's one of the rewarding things about this work, is that we get to unravel that, and then people at the end get to report finally that they feel that calm and peace, and they don't feel at war with food or their body anymore. And, frankly, that's what this is all about. Like, this is what it's about. Like, ending the war, ending the battle, never having to diet ever again, and feeling healthy all at the same time.
Yeah, because our bodies work together with food. It's kind of like
Right.
it's a symbiotic relationship, right?
What? Really? When we're supposed to eat food?
We're supposed to eat food, and food needs us because
Food needs us.
Because like, we're cool.
Well, I mean, think about it. If we didn't need food, we wouldn't plant crops, and those crops would die, so they go extinct.
Mm-hmm. So, food and humans, one and together. Can't live without it. You know.
Well, just to wrap up that story of the work we did with the ladies. So they're all struggling with that. The ones that thought they couldn't get to ketosis, with just in a few days of those little strategies and the different things we were trying with each of them, they got their ketones up over 1. And so
there are tips and tricks. There's more to do than just eat the keto diet. There's little techniques, there's little nuances, little things you can do to kind of make your body elevated, get to that ketosis state. So it's more than just follow these rules, right? There's things you can do to really just take it to the next level.
Right.
To actually get your body in ketosis. Have I ever checked my ketone levels?
I did check them for you a couple of times.
It was a while ago. It was a really long time ago. Do you remember what the numbers were? I feel like they were.
I think you were about 0.8 or so.
0.8.
But you're somebody who's never weighed and measured your food. You just eat as much as you want of the keto foods I've got in the house.
My diet consists of living with someone who does keto forever. So
and then just eat it.
I just follow her. I've been trained by her extensively. I haven't taken her program, but I'm in the house all the time. So it's hard to not just know everything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's what he's got going for him. He's a man. He's
lucky, right?
He's young.
Ooh.
And he doesn't have a long history of, extreme diets as well. So, people like you can do what we call lazy keto.
Lazy keto, I like that.
Which is really just more of like a low carb approach.
Mm-hmm.
And when we've checked your ketones, you're not in that 1 to 3 range. You're in the just slightly below 1. But for somebody like you, that's perfectly fine. Like, you're getting a lot of the benefits. You've pretty much gotten rid of most of your anxiety that you used to really struggle with, and getting really good grades in school.
And that comes down to, like you were saying, is my age almost, right? Mm-hmm. I'm lucky that I'm a man. Maybe it makes it a little easier, but I'm also doing it younger, right? You want to get these. You want to get going into keto as early as possible. You don't want to wait till you're 60, till you're 70, till you're 80, till it's the last resort, right? You want to get into ketosis as soon as possible and kind of so your body can live so happy and healthily for a long time. Yeah,
and you've got some dietary flexibility that once in a while, if you have something that's not 100% keto, you're still fine. Like, you're still on path. You're not going down some spiral or anything like that. But, that's the difference of somebody who's young and not very insulin resistant, is that you get a lot of that flexibility. You don't need as restricted or as stringent or as intensive as an approach. Now, saying that, it doesn't mean that those of you that need more of an intensive approach, that you should feel bad about yourselves. That's another thing I see come up for people, is they're like, oh, there's something wrong with me. I'm a bad person.
Too late in my life.
I have to work so hard, and I've really screwed myself up. It's like, no, look at it as empowered. We can figure this out. You don't have to battle anymore. You can let it go. So it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you, because he can do lazy keto and be just fine.
I'm just
And
lucky.
the rest of us have to measure things, so we're all on our own path and journey. Guess what? He's also 6'3.5". I'm not.
I don't know how.
I don't feel guilty about me being short. Like
I have small hands now because of her.
Now?
But that's all I've gotten from her genes.
well, see, if
all,
we just put them together, you can't really tell that your hands are small, like because mine are so small.
Well, yeah, because like putting my hands next to another guy, though it's my height, like it's just not even close.
Well, but you have
like
big feet, so you make up for it with
I
your
would
size
rather
14
I'd rather
shoes.
have big hands.
Really?
Then I can like palm a basketball. And I
But
can,
you'd
like,
fall over if you had small feet, though.
Oh, maybe.
You'd be like falling over all the time.
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know.
You wouldn't
because
know?
I have big feet, so I wouldn't know what it's like.
Try walking
I put
around
on
here.
big gloves every once in a while to pretend that I have big hands. Like to pick up all my food.
I know. The most terrible thing I've done as a mother is given him not as big a hands as he could have had if he had a different mother.
The only way keto could have made my life better is it made my hands grow.
Maybe have you measured him?
Maybe I should measure my
Maybe
hands.
you
We were
have.
talking about cutting off organs and limbs.
Yeah,
and
see if
they
they'll grow back.
I'll cut off
Let's
my
try
keto
it.
hand, let it grow back. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
I don't think keto could do that. That's just, I don't think there's been any research on that yet, but
I've seen some pretty amazing things, and as long as I've been doing this, probably every month, usually somebody from one of my one of my program members will come up with something, and I'm like, oh my god, that's amazing. I haven't seen that yet, but that's great. So one of the most recent ones was one of my ladies, Betsy. She's one of our peer support coaches. Her bowling game has gone through the roof. So I bet
she's better at bowling now because
so she used to she's in a bowling league, bowls every week, and she was averaged about 80 or 90. She wasn't a star, but she was having fun with it.
better than me.
first time she's doing a type of fast, and she bowls like a 160, which is
you're
great.
You're
right?
focused, right? You're
Yeah, and then she just a week or two ago as well. She was saying she was bowling another like rock star game. Her husband asked her like, "Are you on a fast? Because your bowling is amazing tonight."
You
And
must
she's
be
like,
on keto because you're doing really good at bowling right now.
Yeah. So that's one. There was another one recently too that was like, "That's awesome." I've never heard of that one either, and now I can't remember it. But there's a lot of all these different like surprising things.
Yeah, maybe your hands don't get bigger, but definitely your brain is more focused. You're more confident. I think that's a large thing that has to do with keto. Is you're willing to try your best to put yourself out there in these situations, and just kind of you have the right mindset, right?
Your brain, your nerves are working better, your muscles are better fueled as well too. So, and plus, being in a state of ketosis, you're healing and keeping injuries at bay. So what they're seeing in these long distance athletes is that not only is their recovery period really short compared to what it used to be, is that they just don't even get the damage that happens in their body in the first place when they're doing these endurance sports.
You know that keto makes you immune to pain. Is effectively
well, I don't know about that, but it's amazing for healing and preventing injury too. So
keto is a miracle drug. Can fix a lot of things.
Well, I've heard several physicians say that practice it, saying like if we could bottle, and I can't remember who the doctor is now that says this a lot, but if we could bottle like the effects that keto has in the body, if we could put that in a pill. Like, people's
billionaires.
Yeah, exactly. People's diabetes are reversed in a month or two. Like,
it's crazy.
Yeah. But
I mean, it sounds crazy.
Guess
right?
what? It's not a pill. It's just food.
It's just the thing. It's easier than a pill, cheaper than a pill.
Yes.
Right. It's not the $1 million you have to spend on your pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah.
You just got to buy local food. It's all
plain simple food. That's it. That's all it is. Yeah.
It's much more delicious than a pill too. They cover those things in sugar and
Yeah.
they don't taste
dye
good.
and stuff like that. Yeah.
No, it's all natural.
All right, one more check and see if we've got any questions coming in. I don't know if there's any delay on them or anything like that.
I think they're usually right up there. If people are posting questions, they're going to be immediately. We'll answer them right now.
Yeah.
Right now, not now.
Well,
now.
if there's any questions that actually are coming in, they're not showing up on our monitor here. We'll answer them next week. So we're going to be. Our goal is that we're going to be doing this every week on Thursday, so a live version of Keto Chat each week, Thursdays at 5 Pacific, right here on this channel. And so if you have any questions, if you're watching this later, send me a message, post them on this, right? Whatever this is down there. Post them
and we'll get them on this post.
Yeah, we'll get them answered too. And if you want to send them to me by email, carol@ketocarol.com. That's Carol with an E on the end, CAROLE, carol@ketocarol.com. Send me some questions and we'll get them answered here. Are we?
Well, I see. Aaron has posted here. I'm a little confused. I'm not really sure exactly what you're asking. It says, Let me see here. She's. Oh no, the
Is she asking about how big your hands are?
It disappeared. It disappeared. I was about to read it.
Oh.
But they scrolled down really quickly. But I think she was asking about when something will change. But I'm not sure what you're talking about. When what will change?
Maybe if you click on that, will it show all of the
comments here? No.
Or maybe on the video itself above.
I don't know. I'm young, but I don't know how to use Facebook. I know it's.
Well, I know if this was Snapchat, then.
It's mind-boggling.
If this was Snapchat.
Let's see. No, I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. Well.
Oh no!
Mute that.
Oh, and I'm listening.
Mute
to me
it.
now.
Oh no! Mute it right there.
Which
that
one?
Right there.
Oh yeah, it's good. All right.
Okay.
Whatever.
Is there anything coming up there?
I'm new here. No. Oh, here we go.
Okay.
Here we go.
We gotta figure it out now.
One second, quickly. No questions, but I see a lot of people resonating with the things we've talked about. People that are kind of in the same boat.
Let's give shout outs to them then.
So Tonya says she wished she knew about keto before her gastrectomy. Surgery probably could have been avoided, she says, but you know.
Yeah. Just keep going forward. It'll give you the best. You
can't get too hung up on the past, right? You know about keto now. You can live that way now, right? If you didn't know about it before, it's not really, again, don't beat yourself up about these things. That's kind of a poor mindset to be in. It's never your fault for things. I mean, okay, I was gonna say it's never your fault for things you've done wrong, but that's it. with food. So
just keep looking forward, and you found it now, Tanya. So
yeah, is that how you pronounce it, Tanya?
Yeah, Tanya.
Whoops.
Okay, that's all right.
I'm not good at Facebook. I can't read. You know.
You can't read good?
I thought keto was making me better. I thought it was helping me. Oh no! I take it back. I'm kidding.
Okay.
You can still read when you're on keto.
Your fingers getting shorter?
Fingers are getting shorter. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it? Any other?
Mario was talking about our sleeve gastrectomy 7 years ago. 136
So Aaron says,
pounds.
when do you think will change? I don't know what that question is. So.
Sorry, Aaron. If you come next week.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll be able to answer your question.
Or post another question there. We'll try to get it answered for you. So, all right. Well, how are we doing on time? You got anything else you want to say?
I don't know. I could just plug for next week, right? We can talk about next week. We're gonna do this too. Hopefully, we'll have more people asking questions. I guess we'll. Last week we had too many backup questions.
Yeah.
And we went over time. This week we had too few backup questions.
Yeah.
We didn't have any questions from you guys. We had a couple questions from you guys. So.
Yeah. Well, so I'll make sure I have plenty of questions. Well, I could give a little bit more of the stuff I've been thinking about this this diet mentality, right? So there's I find there's a lot of residual. Like I was talking about, you got to untangle the psychology about the dietary approach and stuff, and all the things we've learned before. So there's this diet mentality that are really limiting beliefs to our success, and so things like. In order to lose weight, I have to eat less and exercise more. So that's a limiting belief. That's a diet mentality belief that's held over that isn't true on keto. And so, there's a lot of these I've really identified in working with all the people that I have and seen, the patterns of thought patterns that really get people stuck. And so one of the really big ones that I can talk about right now is this whole idea of having meal replacements, having shakes, and having bars. And so a lot of times people, come into my program and they're like, well, I want some kind of a shake or something that I can have, when I'm in too much of a hurry and I just need a meal replacement, right?
Something that's as easy as a piece of bread to eat, right?
Yeah, or even the whole idea, like, you haven't had this experience, or maybe you've heard of Slim Fast, right?
Yeah, I've heard of these miracle meal replacement things.
Yeah, so, it's this dieting mentality that we need something to trick us into, eating less calories. And so the diet food manufacturers have come up with these milkshake-like products that are as sweet as a milkshake, or candy bar type things, right? So diet bars, meal replacement bars, they're always sweet, right? And they've got like chocolate chips in them, and they're chocolate covered, or they're cookie dough, right? The whole reason they're doing that is because it tricks you into thinking you're having a candy bar or a milkshake, so that it makes you stick to the diet. Mm-hmm. Like, you're going to have to go on a diet, you're going to have to eat less, you're going to feel tired and miserable, but you get to eat candy bars and milkshakes, and then people go, oh, okay, that sounds like a really good weight loss plan. But you can't stick with that. For one, because your metabolism's slowing down, you're tired, you're hungry, you're miserable, right?
You're starving yourself.
Yeah. And it's not real food. You can't eat candy bars and milkshake the rest of your life. You can't. It's not sustainable. And so, they trick you. And so we've been brainwashed into thinking that, well, diet foods are having bars and shakes. And so in order to be successful, and if I'm going to be on a diet, I need some kind of a bar or a shake. And so people kind of fall into that pattern, and they get the idea that, like, well, if I'm eating bars and shakes, I'm going to be losing weight. So it all gets mix-mashed, whatever that word is, all around in their brain. And so that they get this idea that, like, well, I'm on a diet, so I need a bar or a shake. I need a meal replacement. But the truth is, okay, so the excuses I get for that, but people don't really realize that what it is this old diet mentality. It's this old thought that you need to eat less. You need to eat less food and less volume so that you can lose weight. But their excuses they throw at me is like, well, I'm just really busy and I need something fast and easy. Well, guess what? Epic makes, an uncured bacon bar that's made out of real food.
What's quicker than that?
How about a mozzarella cheese stick? That's as fast as any...
Some pepperoni.
Yeah, how about 2 mozzarella cheese sticks? Faster and cheaper than any kind of bar out there. And it's got about the same amount of calories. It's got way more fat.
It'll actually give you the energy to get through the day because you're not just going to carb crash a couple hours
How about a couple of hard-boiled eggs and a piece of cheese?
You can make those on Monday and eat them all week.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you invested maybe like 30 minutes on Monday, but it's nothing.
You can even buy eggs that are pre-hard-boiled and pre-peeled. It's super fast. Pepperoni slices. I mean, there's a limitless list of all these foods that are just as fast as a shake or a bar. Okay? So it's not about just speed or ease. It's old diet mentality. So some of you listening to this right now might be going, no, wait, no. And you're going, so try to, maybe as I'm saying this and over the next, few hours or maybe the next few days, you'll start to think about it a little bit more and you'll be like, wait, yeah, I guess there is something to that. So really think about what you really associate with these bars and shakes. And so again, it's about tricking yourself into having candy bars and milkshakes and being on a diet. It's old dieting mentality that you have to eat less and eat small amounts, and so therefore you have to reward yourself with candy bars and milkshakes to get through it. But the other problem is that it trains your taste buds and the addiction part of your brain that you need to have sweet stuff in order to get through the misery of a diet.
You have to reward yourself for behaving well, right? You give yourself some sugar because you've been a good person. You've had your meal replacement for the day, so you're going to get your meal replacing candy bar after.
Yeah, and there's no processed bar product or milkshakey type diet product that will even come close to having as much nutrients as real food. So anytime it's real food, it's going to have way more vitamins and minerals and all these other things that our body needs to be healthy. So we got to get rid of that. I need something fast and easy. The other one that kind of people think like, well, I just need something. I'm not that hungry, so I just need a little something.
I'm only a little hungry. I just have a snack. I just feel snacky right now.
Yeah.
I don't feel hungry. I just feel snacky.
Yeah. So let's unravel that. Okay, snacky. So if you're not really hungry, don't eat at all. Like, if you're snacky, a lot of times snacky is code for I'm having a craving for something sweet. Mm-hmm. That's why people want those.
That's why I want some cereal. I'm just gonna have a candy bar because I'm not hungry. I'm snacky.
Or just have some chips a little bit or crackers.
Just a bag of chips.
Right? Yeah. I'm just snacky, right?
Well, it's because lots of the advertising companies, the Doritos and whatnot, they tell you, well, you have a bag of chips every once in a while. You don't want your snacks. To get through your exercise, you need a power bar or something like that. You're going to hike. You need
energy,
a granola bar or something because it's what you need to get through these things. Which it's obviously not true, but
that's the other thing is that people they want something low calorie to that's going to keep them satisfied. But the truth is these diet bars and shakes, they actually only stoke hunger. So anything that tastes a little bit sweet will make you hungrier than if you didn't eat it all.
When you go to a restaurant and you order an appetizer, are you full afterwards? You're still hungry, right?
What's the whole word appetizer even mean?
Yeah.
To make you have an appetite.
To make you hungry. They want you to have these snack bars, these candy things, to just make you eat more. In the long run, right?
If snack bars and shakes worked long term for weight loss and reducing appetite, everybody would be consuming them everywhere and nobody'd eat real food anymore. So
I think what it kind of comes down to is for these companies that are pushing these things, these snacks, these mindsets for people, They're kind of their interest there is their bottom line, right? Their goal is to make money with these products. They're not really they don't really care if you lose weight. They just care if you think you lose weight on these things, right? So
they just care if you buy more.
The difference between them and kind of you is that you're not in it for the bottom line. It's kind of you actually want people to feel better. It's actually going to make you happy with your results with the diet. It's not about that.
And we're all fooling ourselves if we think we're having some kind of a bar to reduce cravings. All they do is increase cravings. And they make you hungrier. They're not going to do anything to help you lose weight. So see if you can unravel that, process that a little bit about the whole idea of a bar is a candy bar, a protein bar. They're all made to taste like candy bars. Like there's a reason for that. So
that's not even touching on the preservatives and whatnot. They have to put in these bars to put them in the shape and just to get them not to go.
Yeah, bad. And most of them, even the ones that claim that there's like so few net carbs. The ingredients that are in them are so highly processed that they do cause an insulin release. They do cause a glucose response in people. So,
but it's zero carbs, right? That's fine.
I've never seen one that's zero carbs, but they do advertise net carbs.
Net carbs. So, it's just fiber, only fiber. It's 20 grams of fiber.
Yeah.
So that'll still do it for you.
Yeah. So that that's one piece of what I've been thinking about with this diet mentality, the leftover of how bars and shakes. And expanding on the shake thing as well, a lot of people get into this smoothie habit as well. So that's another one that they're like, I need a smoothie in the morning to get me going because I'm not very
healthy,
hungry.
Right? It's a bunch of fruit and...
Yeah, the thing about every smoothie recipe out there, though, is it's sweet. It's like a vegetable and fruit milkshake is what it is. So we've been also, brainwashed into thinking that's a healthy way to start our day. But the truth is that it's, it's pureed, so it digests faster, which is always going to cause more of a glucose response than if it was real whole food.
It doesn't make you feel hungry, right? Because it's liquid. It's not going to make your stomach think you're hungry or full.
Right, yeah. And then typically it's always really sweet. So anything sweet increases appetite and hunger, and also it trains your body to want more sweet, and so you want it every day. So I find that people that come into my program or interact with me one way or another, and they're like, I need a smoothie, I really need a smoothie. It's really like that's the craving part of the brain saying they need sugar and sweet, right? So there's a lot of that has to be unraveled, and I know that this is topics that aren't discussed out there at all in the keto world that I know, and so it's one of the keys I've seen to people being really successful is unraveling the sweet, unraveling the cravings, unraveling the psychological hunger, and getting the biology lined up, and then getting the support and the understanding so that you can actually separate those things to get the long-term results, so that you're not just back where you are a year from now, or you're like, why didn't this work either?
Or you've lost your weight and then you put it back on because you didn't really examine the cause of the diet problems, of the cravings and stuff. It's more than just, I'm just unlucky I crave these things. There's things you can do to fix it. There's things you can do to change your mindset to kind of help you out. There's more to do than just a hope and prayer.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, that only goes so far. So
there's action steps.
All right, that's all I'm going to say about that for now. We're up against time. We got a question.
We got a question.
All right.
Mary, what are your thoughts on using artificial sweeteners?
Mary, that's an awesome question, Mary. Okay, so
fantastic.
Yes. Okay, so a lot of the artificial sweeteners out there are not actually ketogenic. So what makes a sweetener ketogenic? Two primary things as far as like technically ketogenic. So it can't cause a blood sugar spike, and it can't cause an insulin response. Those aren't the same thing. So we've got some sweeteners out there that, although they don't raise our blood sugar, they cause an insulin response. Insulin is the opposite of ketosis. So anything that causes an insulin response, independent of blood glucose, is going to be anti-ketogenic. And so most of the artificial sweeteners out there do cause at least an insulin response. So the only one that actually does not cause that, based on lab results, is aspartame. Equal is what the other name of that is. I'm not a big fan of artificial sweeteners in general. Like, I don't like putting things in my body that aren't things that it recognizes or knows what to do with. That's going to be a different thing than what's really ketogenic, and your goals and approach may be different. Now, the other side of that I really work with my clients is that anything that tastes sweet, whether it's natural, artificial, or anywhere in between, that can cause an insulin response, especially for people that are really insulin resistant. So insulin resistant means that your body overreacts to anything that would normally cause an insulin release. So let's say, you eat whatever, and a normal person would respond with this much insulin. Somebody who's insulin resistant, they can eat the same exact thing and their body goes, woo, it overreacts to it. So because of that, people that are really insulin resistant, even when they eat, technically keto-friendly sweeteners, I just got choked up for some reason.
So passionate.
They could have an insulin response from it. So even though for you aspartame may work, for me or 10 other ladies, it might cause an insulin response. So how do you know?
You might not know, yeah,
you
exactly.
can't measure insulin, so how do you know? Well, one of the ways is you're not losing weight. Another really big reason I see, though, is that if you continue to crave that thing, so whatever you're having that has that sweetener in it, and you want more of it.
The next day you're like, I could eat a couple more of those.
And you have to have some of it every day, or you have to have something sweet every day. That's a good sign that it's not working for you. If you're hungrier, if you feel like you're hungry all the time and you can't get enough to eat. I already said the one about not losing weight. And obsessive thoughts, right? So whatever it is you have that has that in it, if all day long you're thinking about like, wow, I can't wait to get some more of that, or I can't wait till tomorrow to have some more of that, or as soon as I get home, I'm going to have some more of that. Like, those are all signs that probably it's causing an insulin release, but also another piece that I didn't even mention is that it's just stimulating the part of the brain that makes us hungry, makes us want more and more and more of something.
The addiction part of your brain.
Exactly. And so there's different aspects that you have to look at as far as what's really keto-friendly, because, what's keto-friendly is one thing, but what is long-term happiness and not having cravings friendly is also part of the equation. So individual results may vary. Artificial sweeteners I'm not a fan of personally. It turns out there's only one that's technically keto friendly anyway.
That's artificial, yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing you got to watch out for is that aspartame almost never is in foods all by itself. Usually it has a couple other artificial sweeteners in them that are not keto friendly at all.
Well, yeah, because sugar tastes one way, right? And it's kind of hard to replicate that without it just being sugar. So you kind of do one thing and then something else, and it kind of averages out to kind of taste like sugar. But one of those things may have a way higher insulin response. And it's a dangerous road to embark on, right? Sweets. It's kind of like an addict going back to his, just gonna try some drugs, just gonna see how it makes me feel. It's not best thing to do.
Yeah. No. For the most part, I recommend just giving yourself a break from it, reset all those things where you can actually take the time to notice whether you're getting this response or not. So, so most beverages that are sweetened, like diet sodas, they have a blend of 2 or 3 of these artificial sweeteners in them. And a lot of, desserty things out there on the market that are sugar-free have, multiple artificial sweeteners in them too. So
I know for a lot of people, when you're used to drinking a lot of soda all day, if you're drinking drinks, just whatever you're drinking throughout the day, if you're going keto, well, I'm just going to have diet soda, right? I'll just do this instead because there's no carbs. It says no carbs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it comes down to that response, that insulin response. And I think I recommend if there are people having that problem, just do sparkling water or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
non-sweetened. Just, it fills your sparklingness, the mouthfeel, right? There's ways to wean yourself off of the soda rather than going to the artificial sweetener.
Yeah, and if you go long enough without any sweetness, those sparkling waters, I could swear, like after I started having those, like plain unsweetened, like not any sweetener
like
at all.
Lemon flavor, lime flavored.
There were several times I'd take a taste and I'd be like,
there's gotta be.
I read the label, like, is there really any sweetener in this? Like, no, I've had the time to reset my taste buds, and so I don't need that sweet all the time. So
I think, when you compare like American sweets and American candy compared to other countries. And I think is the really big thing is American candies compared to any other country around the world, their candies are way less sweet. There's way less sugar in things.
Some of them are starting to catch up with us now.
They're starting to become more American. They realize it's the way to be. If you think about like Japanese treats and
I think Japanese are equally as sweet, but a lot of other countries are not.
There's some Asian country that I know it's mostly savory desserts, right? It's not about the sweet and the sugar. I know Mexican candies are I'm forgetting which ones I know exactly, like low sugar, but I know the rice paper candies and stuff in Asia. There's less sugar. But to them it tastes the same as our candies do to us, and that's just because their taste buds
dumbed out our taste buds.
Yeah, we've numbed our taste buds, right? We're eating sugar all day, and you need more and more. It's going to get that insulin resistance. So.
Yeah, that's a sign of a drug addiction. Is that you need more and more and more to satisfy the craving.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Think about that the next time you're eating
Yeah.
something that's not keto. If every time you take a bite, you need to have.
Nobody watching this should be eating not keto.
If you're not doing keto and you're on that edge
Yeah.
still, and next time you're eating something, if you think, if you realize every next bite you're taking bigger bites than the last, that's probably not a good sign, right? You're having some problems there.
If you're having feelings of like, oh my gosh, I don't know if there's going to be enough. Oh, I should have got
It's
more.
just so good.
Yeah.
I need to have it all at once.
And yeah, you eat until you feel guilty and miserable and uncomfortable.
And then not only does your body hate you for that, you hate yourself for this. It's like you're beating yourself up in the head, which it's not a good mindset to be in. It's not. Don't put yourself in that situation.
Any other questions or anything come up there?
I'm not seeing any more questions. I appreciate the question we got.
Yeah.
The questions we got PM to us.
I think we filled our time here, and I thank you all for watching. So the way that you can get notifications for these is kind of like basically subscribing is to interact somehow. So thumbs up, a heart, a laugh, a wow, whatever you want to do. Also sharing this or commenting, those are ways that you let Facebook know that you want to see more of this. So if you like this, do something, interact with us there, and we'll see you again next week. We're going to be back here again, same time Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific.
5 p.m. Pacific.
5 p.m. Pacific.
8 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, and then if you live somewhere else, you got to do the time zone math yourself. Alaska is 4 p.m. I know that. Yeah. All right.
Arizona is like an hour now.
Well, it depends. Certain parts of Arizona
there's actually
are the
parts,
same. Yeah. Yeah.
That's annoying.
Yeah. All right.
Pacific and Eastern, that's all we do.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. That's all for now. We'll see you next week on Keto Chat Live.
Keto.